Hey there, YouTube. It is Monday, February 25th, 2019. It is 5:39 a.m. And I'm getting ready to go take the old lady to work and come home and take an hour and a half nap and then go into work 4 hours early. I gotta be there at 11. Now, I tell you all the time, it is always about progress, and it is never about perfection. However, you should try to be perfect in your progression. Strive for perfection. Never quite get it, but always strive for it. Never sit around. Always strive for perfection. A couple reasons. One, biggest reason is you're capable of doing it. That's one of the biggest reasons. All right. At any rate, online you can check it out. Type in Antichrist, and what you're going to come up with is a guy named Jared Kushner. He is the #1 candidate for the Antichrist, the Moshiach, or the Antichrist, whichever one you want to call him. And it's like a 4 or 5 to 1. People are saying this Jared Kushner is. And the ones that are saying that it is him are those zooists that live over in that walled-in city in the Middle East, the ones that don't treat people very well. That city that starts with an I, and they built that wall around it. Yeah. The country that owns the company called the United States. Yeah, that one. All right. They're really pushing it. And their whole deal is all about bringing in the Moshiach. The Moshiach is the Messiah. I'll tell you what, I want the Messiah to come too. I would love it for Jesus to come back and just fix things. Just bring the power and the full armor of God with you and fix this, because it can be fixed. It is not right. I came home from work Friday afternoon. I worked 12 hours. And I was going through a little bit of something up here. And from time to time, people think that all I do is, like surf the net and watch videos all day long. Oh, they're pretty much right. But I read and I watch videos. And really the only reason I watch videos on the topics I watch the videos, the topics that I do watch, is because I was reading about it and I want to, check out how can I present this information. I check out a couple videos to see how they present the information, and then I try to, make it my own. But I just don't. I'm not this big tech dude, and I'm not good at it. So what I do is, as soon as I find a topic I want to check out, as soon as I see a topic that I would like to check out after I read it, I'll say, wait a minute, let me go in there and I'll check and see how many videos they got on it first, because if there's 27,000 videos on the topic, there's a good chance I'm not going to make 20,001. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make that video because it's been oversaturated. And if you don't know it now, oh well. Because we're getting very close to the time when we're going to have to put all this knowledge into action. And, Some of us have actually been doing the work. But all of, I would say about 98% of you have gotten stuck in the contemplative stage. Listen, when things come up in your life and they weigh you down, I hear it all the time. I'm trying to get it done. You know, yeah, I'm trying. Listen. Folks, there's no such thing as trying. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. Everybody is always trying to get it done. But nobody's making any moves. Like, how long do you have to think about something before you should start moving? Because I will tell you this about the world. It's rapidly ending. And if you're sitting in your house thinking about how you're going to fix things, you're dead. Like, I'm all for making a plan, having a plan, sticking through it, and then reaching your goal. I'm all for that. I get it. But a plan is nothing until you start walking. Plans ain't shit until you put them into practice. And the problem is the majority of this country, the majority of the people that live in this country have changed. You know, I told you before that everything that was ever done, anything that was ever done, technologically, scientifically, economically, infrastructure-wise, anything that could ever be done, an American stepped up and did it better. How did we build the greatest country ever? Because we did everything better. And each and every one of us Americans are capable of doing everything better. It's a genetic thing, a DNA thing, or whatever the heck you want to call it. I don't care what you call it. As long as you don't put it down. You can't put it down. Never slander. Don't slander that. You don't do that. And you don't apologize for it. Our media has made us feel guilty about being good. Everybody puts down America about the things that we've done, the travesties that we've committed across all across the planet. Oh, they're so terrible. I can't believe it. I don't even want to call myself an American. Well, then don't, and get the fuck out of here. If you don't want to call yourself an American, then you don't belong here. Simple as that. You know, America is great. You know why? Because we did things. Now we've become observers. We are watching things get done. And our whole media and government system is just fostering that belief that we could sit back and watch the world happen. We've been sitting back and watching the world happen since 1963. And it's gone to hell in a handbasket in case you haven't noticed. We've got to learn how to do things again. Because this country, the greatest economy, the greatest infrastructure, the greatest everything, scientific, everything. It didn't get to be the greatest because some dude sat in his house thinking about it. You know, there comes a time in your life when you're going to have to stop thinking about some shit and start doing some shit. I don't understand why you don't just do stuff anyway. I don't want to hire somebody to work on my car. I don't want to hire somebody to do my yard. I don't want to hire somebody to work, to work on my house. I don't. I don't care if I don't know how to do it or I've never done it. Listen, let me explain something to you. Here's the problem with you people, all right? I have a buddy. He has put brakes on a car. I remember him putting the brakes on the car 3 different times he had to put brakes on. All 3 times he had to look it up on YouTube and watch the video as he went. As he was working on it, he's watching the video on YouTube, doing it bit by bit. 3 times. Do you know why he had to watch that 3 times? Do you know why he had to watch it every time he had to fix his brakes? Because he didn't remember it. And do you know why? Because we don't do shit anymore. We don't do anything. We sit back on our asses, eat Doritos, get fat, and watch it being done on television. Listen, if you have ever screwed in a screw, tightened a nut and bolt, hammered in a nail, cut a piece of wood, used a ruler, use a compass, use a level, a square, a framing square, a T-square, a compound square. If you've used these things in your life, then you could build anything. Listen, it doesn't matter what you're building. It doesn't. It doesn't matter what the structure is. If you have used a tape measure, a saw, a hammer, nails, screwdriver, you can do it. I could do it. We could all do this shit. And the problem with people is they, for somehow, think that the screws and nails and hammers and the screws, nails, and bolts and everything over in that house, because it's a $5 billion house, the screws and the nails and the bolts in that house are different than the screws and the nails and the bolts in my doghouse. If you can build a doghouse, you could build the Sistine Chapel. It's not about grandeur. It's not about, oh, well, you have to be really good at tightening bolts to build something this big or this beautiful. What? No. You need to have the imagination. You need to have a little bit of an education and understand what makes something structurally sound. That comes with education. It does. That comes with it. But to think that you can't build something because it's really extravagant, if you've built anything, you could build anything. You don't lose the skills. If you could bang in a nail, you could bang in a nail in France, in Paris, or you could bang in a nail in Camden. A nail is a nail and a hammer is a hammer. People just seem to, they're just so misconstrued, like they don't understand it. You don't really need to know how to do stuff. You don't need a lesson. Once you've worked on a car, as long as you can identify the part, whatever the component is that the problem is, as long as you know what it looks like, I don't understand why you need a video to replace it. Take the old one out and put the new one the fuck in. You know, when I first do things, right? When I first started messing around under the hood, and I wasn't very sure of myself, and You know, I just didn't want to make any mistakes, and I didn't want to ruin anyone's car because it wasn't mine the first time. Well, you know what I did? I did one wire at a time. I took the wire off of the old one and stuck it to the new one. Then I took the next wire off the old one and I stuck it to the new one. Then I took the next wire off the old one and I stuck it to the new one. By the time all the wires were off, I just unscrewed the brackets that hold it in, took it out, and then put the new one in. It was already wired up. You really don't need directions. You really don't need YouTube. You don't need that. You need a willingness to do something instead of sitting around constantly thinking about it. Like, I have a friend, you know, I love him to death. I do. But he's starting his downward spiral. And yeah, he's going to get mad at me if he watches this video and he's going to tell me I'm picking on him, but that's what happens. That's how you perceive everything when you start your downward spiral. I remember I've done it several times. All right. Well, I see him and he's dibbing and dabbing. He lost his job. And then, well, it didn't sound right to me, the story I got when he told me he lost his job. Because I had noticed that he lost about 25 pounds in 2 months. And believe you me, he didn't have 25 pounds to lose. And now he's just like, he looks like he's in a sarcophagus. I love him. I just want him to do better. You know, or just call it selfish. Call me being selfish because I did put in a little bit of work on him. You know, I see something in the kid, you know. He's got a son, you know, and he's got a brain in his head. He really does. But that powerful brain is a double-edged sword. You'll have to excuse me. I was just out with the cat. They make me itch. I don't mind them, but they do make me itch a lot. And they make my eyes itchy and my nose run. But I see so much in a lot of people. I see a lot more in people than they see in themselves. And it's not their fault. The reason they don't see it is because they refuse to listen to the shit that I keep sending them. All the videos I send them and everything. If you start understanding that that's not you thinking, that's not your thought process. That the world's collapsing on top of you and you can't dig yourself out of the hole and everybody's set against you and the whole world's all fucked up and there's nothing we can do. That ain't you talking. That's not your thoughts. Anytime something happens, you go, oh, I'm fucked. Everything, woe is me. My pity pot. That's not you talking. It's not. That's the media. That's your indoctrination station that we went to for 13 years that built that shit in you. It made everybody a victim. Everybody takes the victim stance all the time. And it's pathetic because ain't no victims here. Ain't no victims here. We only, now that we are adult males, alright, I'm going to tell you this right now. There are no adult male victims. For the most part. No living victims, anyway. Not a lot of them. Because I can tell you from experience, yeah, I had a lot of bad shit happen to me. And at the time, they happened to me. Those things all happened to me. I had nothing to do with it. These people are scumbags. I can't believe they treat us like this. You know, and I don't look back and say, now wait a minute. I know what this neighborhood is. I know who I am and who I'm affiliated with. And if I go into this neighborhood, there's a 7 out of 10 chance that I'm going to get involved in something just because of who I am. They don't have to know me personally. But when you walk around wearing something, when you walk around a certain way in certain neighborhoods, and, well, I do got to say, I followed the traditions. I walked down that path. I ran with those guys. These guys. You know. I ran with them long enough to find out that they're fucking idiots. Alright? I'll go with that. And then I'm gonna leave it there. Strike that. They are not idiots. They are some of the most intelligent human beings I've ever met in my life. They have read more than you have. They know more than you do. But the spin they put on it is faulty. It's fictional. They think that the Jews and the black man need to be eradicated from the face of the earth. They have 14 words that they live by. And they have an 88, there's 88 articles in the Constitution. In our Constitution, governed by Eastern Chapter, ECAB, ECAB. I am not going to tell you what the Eastern Chapter is EC, but I won't tell you what AB stands for because I don't want to give them credit. Ain't no brotherhood involved. I am my brother's keeper. I believe in brotherhood. They do not. I reached Sergeant at Arms, Second Council. It took me over 25 years to do so. Well, no. It took me about 8 years to reach SAA, but it took me the rest of it to make it mine. And I have prospected, I have scouted, I have sent people out to their death. I've never been in the military, but you'd never know it. You know, the people that have been in the military understand what I'm saying. They look down on me. You know, they think that because I was, you know, involved with a bunch of street gangsters that, you know, maybe it goes along with the hammer and nail situation. You know, the bullets that they were running from are different than the bullets that I had to run from. You know, the people shooting at me were different than the people shooting at them. It's the fucking difference. I got shot at. I got shot. You got shot at. You didn't get shot. I was home and got shot. You were overseas and didn't. I got shot at 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday in South Philly at a park selling cocaine. 20 bags of cocaine powder. I had a Smith & Wesson revolver, 1-inch barrel, snub nose, with 4 rounds. 2 dum-dums and two high brass 38 special rounds. The people that came in after us had fully automatic weapons. And it seemed like they brought the whole Cambodian village with them. It's like they brought Vietnam with them. I was in the park, sitting there, and we're talking. I'm standing next to this big rollaway dumpster right next to the rec center. And we're just talking. I was wearing a tank top, a beater, and a pair of Umbro shorts. Do you remember Umbros, the soccer shorts? That's what I was wearing. I was wearing a wife beater and a pair of purple Umbros. And I was carrying my gun. Let me explain something. I'm going back. This is back in the early 90s, right? The world has changed so much in these past 30 years that if we were to reset it right now with everybody and they woke up tomorrow and it was 1985, 90% of you would be lost and would crack up. I mean, just lose it. You would lose your shit. Because everybody under the age of 30 has never known the world, has never known this country to be someplace that you really are proud of. That's where my disconnect from everybody else comes. Because I am proud to be American. Because I am proud of the things we accomplished. And I am not ashamed to be a white man in America. I'm not. But the narrative we keep getting on the news and in our media and in our classroom and the indoctrination station is that you should be ashamed of yourself for living here. What? Why do I have to be ashamed of myself? What the hell did I do? I haven't done anything but work really hard my whole life. I may not have been at a job, but make no mistake, every day I woke up, I fought to make it to bed again. I did not have an easy road. Yeah, I made some bad decisions. But I'll tell you what, every time I made a good decision, it led to them bad decisions anyway. Because my whole family will tell you, at the age of 14, there is no way any of you would have said that I would have been a drug addict. No way. At the age of 18, none of you would have said that I would end up being a drug addict. Let alone a heroin addict? A cocaine addict? No way. At the age of 18, listen, when I was in school, guys were doing steroids and guys were blood doping and stuff like that. If you just don't know what blood doping is a week prior to a sporting event that you have to compete, all right? No, say I'm a wrestler, okay? I'm a wrestler, football player, I ran track and I play ice hockey. All right? Here's the deal. Say I have a wrestling meet, right? And it's something serious. Say I'm going to districts or leagues or something. I want that competitive edge. How do I do it without steroids? How do I do it and still pass a piss test? Anybody know? Well, I'm going to tell you. You know, like when you go to the doctor's office and you give blood, right? And they take a pint of blood out and they put it in that bag. Yeah, all right, well, do that yourself. Take a pint of your blood out and put it in the refrigerator for 7 days. And then the day of your wrestling match, your football game, your track meet, your I don't care. Your SATs, whatever. Put it back in. Put it back in that morning and watch you become the Bionic Man. I did it once. I was wrestling heavyweight. I weighed 178 pounds and I wrestled heavyweight. And I took him for a fall in the first round. And his name was Chris Pepitone. He went to Easton. It was a joke that I had to wrestle him. We didn't have a heavyweight. And there was a lot of 180 pounders, and there's a lot of 160 pounders, a lot of 170 pounders on every wrestling team in high school. What you don't have is lightweights and heavyweights. But 60, 70, 80, overrepresented. That's why 168 is the hardest weight class in wrestling. High school, grammar school, high school, college, it matters not. 168 is the toughest. That is the absolute toughest division in any wrestling. Why? Because everybody weighs 170 pounds. In order to be the best at heavyweight, you may have to wrestle 25 guys, 25 heavyweights. You're going to have to beat 25 heavyweights. But at 168 or 171, to be the best, you've got to wrestle about 20,000 different people. I never wrestled 20,000 people. But I will tell you that my record was 256, 1-1. I lost once. And I couldn't compete one time because, I broke my leg. I blew my knee out real bad. I wanted to wrestle. I said, screw it, shoot me up with some cortisone, hit me up with an analgesic, and I'm in. I don't care. But Dave Schultz wouldn't let me, Coach Dave wouldn't let me wrestle. And Doc Martinelli, the trainer, wouldn't let me wrestle. I was probably going to go to the 96 Olympics. Well, I was definitely going to the 96 Olympics, and I was definitely going to win the gold medal. Because the guy that won the gold medal in my division, I beat him twice. One time I thoroughly whipped his ass, and the other time, we had a good one. It was a nice, good knockdown, drag him out. Both ended up in the hospital with exhaustion and dehydration. But I could have been a gold medalist. Or any medalist. I don't even care if I would have lost. I just wanted to go to the Olympics. Because I told Barbara that I was going to be the best ever. I told her I was going to be the best in the world. I was the best in the United States. I was best in Pennsylvania, and I was the best in the United States. I was the best in the world, but I never had a chance to prove it. I never had a chance to prove it to everyone else. But the guy who won the gold medal knows it. He told me so. And shortly after my wrestling and school career, I went to prison. And that man that I beat twice, that ended up winning the gold medal in '96, He showed his gratitude financially. And that man wrote me a letter every month. I said almost every month. He did not have a letter typed and then stamp it. No. He had a pen in his hand and he wrote me a page or a page and a half every month. I never asked the man for anything. And he never really gave me anything prior to that. And he is now famous and on television. And I don't like that because I know what's going on with him. I know how people end up on television. I know what they have to do. And the only thing I could say about that situation is they had to really catch him doing something that they just got him by the balls, man, because I am going to tell you that Kurt Angle, that's a man. He is a stand-up human being. I don't give a shit about the character he plays on television. You understand? I went to Pizza Hut with this man. You know? We used to drive through the desert. We'd go through the desert in Arizona. And we didn't go to school together. I think he went to Minnesota. But we'd hang out. Not just me and him, but us two and, you know, my group of friends and a couple of his friends. We would end up, like, say, let's say USC is wrestling ASU, right? And at ASU. So we're right, you know, you got California right next to Arizona and the desert's right in between them. So we just meet in the desert and go have a good time at night, you know, drink a few beers, one or two, and hang out. And I got to find out that man is human. He's a real cool dude. And when I met him, he wasn't Kurt Angle. He was just Kurt. We were just kids. But I'll tell you something, that kid is the absolute best wrestler to ever live. But he can't beat me. And it's not because I was a better wrestler or because I was stronger or faster or smarter. It's because when I want to do something, when I want it, it's mine. Because I'm willing to work harder than everybody I know. And I don't care the cost. I don't care the pain it puts me in. I don't. I don't care what I have to sacrifice. If I want something, the devil will run and hide. It's early. It's very late. Vision Quest is on its way out, and I have to go to work in 5 hours. So I'm going to take the old lady to work, come back, lay down, and try to have a good dream. I'd settle for just a dream that I remember, because I haven't remembered a dream. And I don't remember the last dream I remembered. And you know, it's really scary, because I've been reading up on dreams and catching some of the more esoteric dream studies and more fringe dream studies. And what I find out is rich and famous people. I've sent the videos to you. It's going to sound crazy, but all of their lives happen while they're sleeping. Every time you see an actor on television, every movie you've ever seen them in, every time they make public appearances, the actor's at home sleeping. The person out there doing that, I don't know where the hell they came from. I'm not going to get into it. It's for a whole nother video, this cloning shit. But there's too many people talking out about it. Too many. Oh, well, they're actors. They just, it's just publicity. Yeah. What about all the actors that ain't even freaking famous that are talking about it? What about them? Where's their freaking publicity? Huh? What about all the actors from the 60s that were talking about it? What about them? It's not real? Okay, well, let me explain something to you, folks. Do you remember Roseanne Barr? She was Roseanne Arnold for a little while, and then she went back to Roseanne Barr. She used to have this TV show, Roseanne. Remember she sung the national anthem and then spit on the home plate and she screwed it all up? You remember that? She made a big comeback. And let me tell you something, I've always liked Roseanne. As annoying Jew voice she got, but she's smart and she's driven. And I could respect that. She knew what she wanted out of life and she did it. But she sold her soul to the devil when she was 15. That's in her book. But let me tell you something that happened with Roseanne Barr. Right after her show came back on the air. After John Goodman came back to life. Because in case you all forget, John Goodman died a long time ago. The last season of the Roseanne show, Dan wasn't in them. Why wasn't Dan in them? Because he died. John Goodman died. It was all over the news. They even had to write him out on Roseanne, the show. They wrote him out, said he had a heart attack and died. And then Roseanne won the lottery. And easy street from here. Poor Dan. That dude was breaking his knuckles on Harley Davidsons every day of his life. And the day he dies, this bitch wins the lottery. Not bitch. That wasn't right. I shouldn't have said that. It was just for effect. But no, I don't call women bitches. I don't do that. That is not... Oh, you'll never hear me say, hey, that's my bitch. No. We don't do that. There's a difference. There's a difference between a man and a yam. Now, you may call me racist for saying that term, but I'll tell you what, that's the definition of being a jig. If you think the mother of your children, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's aunt, and somebody's niece is your bitch, why don't you go 5 rounds with me? Why don't you go 1 round with me? Because I'm going to show you how it feels to be a bitch. And then I'll call you my bitch. Yo, it is my bitch right here. Yeah. He drinking his meals for a little while. And his shit look different. But that's my bitch. He be alright. Roseanne Barr, publicly, during her comeback, people were asking her a lot of loaded questions because Roseanne's controversial. Not because she's arrogant or ignorant, but because she tells the truth. All the time. She don't care how you feel about it. Well, she said that if you want to know about Hollywood, check out MK Ultra. Because the culture in Hollywood is ruled, governed, owned by the United States military MK Ultra program. That's mind control. It's been around since the 30s. Operation Blue Book or Project Blue Book, you can go all the way back. Ever since we started winning wars, MK Ultra has been in play. You know, she said that on a Thursday. And did you know that by Tuesday she was a racist and kicked off the air? She's an anti-Semite. She hates black people. She's probably got 9 of them buried in her basement. She might have been on that plane that crashed into the Trade Center. All she did was tell the truth. And then they assassinated her in public. Wasn't her. That was not Roseanne Barr that said that shit. Roseanne was home sleeping. The other Roseanne was on television running off at the mouth. And that's how they get them. If the real you does anything to hurt them or to get them looked at, the other you is going to go do some dumb shit. And your ass is going to pay for it. Because clones don't exist. That's not real. Oh, it's just her. No, they just real. Now, I seen people that look alike. I seen 2 people. No, one was Italian and one was German. But I'm telling you right now, they were the same freaking person. Oh, well, they're just doppelgangers. Yeah. Man-made doppelgangers that go gang rape women and get real men put in jail for the crime. That's how they own all the hub. That's why the people that have all the money don't say shit. They know the truth, but they can't say it. Why? Because there's another one of them just waiting to go knock over a Walgreens. I'm Tuck. I'll do a clone video eventually, but I'm Tuck, and that's the way I see it. Have a good day, folks. Please, please have a good day. Hit your knees, pray, put on the full armor of God, and always walk in the truth. If you walk in the truth, you'll never be lost. I'm Tuck. That's the way I see it.